Hey, so I watched Avatar 2, and even though it was over 3 hours long, I can't wait for the other three parts to be released. So far, James Cameron has revealed some stuff related to Avatar 3, and apparently Avatar 3 will be a little different from its predecessors. We already know that the director of Avatar 2 is now making the third movie in the series, and rumor has it there will be a big change. I mean, even though the first sequel to Avatar: The Way of Water is still in theaters, Avatar 3 is already well on its way to being made. And for those who don't know, and hey, spoiler alert, the first two movies were told from Jake Sully's point of view, who was played by Sam Worthington, but it looks like that might not be the case anymore. James is currently waiting for the dust to settle so he can observe what people liked and their reactions. And that's so he can change things in Avatar 3. Basically, he's planning to go back and do a few bits and pieces, so he can tweak it according to what the audience likes. And I think that's good, considering the next part might also be 3 hours long. But it's not just that. Cameron revealed some interesting narrative details too. He's actually thinking of changing narrators in the next part. And he also said that every Avatar sequel after this one will be told from the point of view of a different character, the point of view of Loke. Plus, Loke really stood out as a character that people liked in the current part.
We just roll. Okay, all right, let's do it again. Let's go back to one. Let's do it again. And we just get into a session. Sometimes we'll record for 10, 12 minutes straight, maybe 5, 10 takes, different ideas. Hey, why don't you do this? You know, I'll throw them a line on the fly. It's a very creative sandbox. Hair designs and hair decoration and everything for the Na'vi.
Costume design is one of the most important parts of expressing a character, how a person dresses, what their clothes signify in a clan.
And Cameron already confirmed that he'll be the one telling the story in the third part. The future installments having different narrators is honestly genius. Knowing how the story will be told gives away something really huge, and people might find it interesting to think about what's coming. As I mentioned before, Jake was the narrator for the previous two parts.
They have this deep respect for the harmony and balance of nature. Their tattooing, their body and facial tattooing, we did our own kind of Pandoran version of that. The actor creates the emotion. The actor creates the moment. It's our job to make sure that everything the actor did is preserved in their CG character.
You are very hard on them.
I'm their father. It's my job.
Jake Sully, as a Na'vi does, Sam has done.
I thought we lost them.
So with Avatar 3, we can see things from a different point of view, and I, for one, can't wait for that, because it'll develop the story into multiple perspectives, and that's pretty cool. But Cameron didn't stop there. He also teased Avatar 3's new Na'vi cultures. Cameron told Deadline at the Critics' Choice Awards that in the third part, the element of fire and two new cultures will be shown for the first time. Basically, fire is used as a symbol, and there's a culture based on that idea in the third film. Also, there's going to be two very different ways of life and two more cultures. Cameron said that they're called Omaticaya and Metkayina. They've moved around the world of Pandora to different places a little more freely, and not just that, Cameron also talks about some character returns. That's right, Avatar 3 will bring back both Pycon and his nemesis Scoresby. As you know, the majestic, huge Tolkien who befriends Jake and Loke has become a fan favorite. Not only does his sad backstory garner sympathy from the audience, but he also kicks some serious recon butt in the last reel. If you remember, Mick Scoresby is a hunter who makes a lot of money by selling Tolkien brain goop to people who want to live longer, and it's safe to say he's one of the most annoying bad guys in the movie. But luckily, fans of Avatar will be happy to hear that there will be more Pycon in the next movie. Producer John Landau tells the Empire that Pycon will be back and he'll have a bigger role than in Way of Water. The audience is going to see Pycon as a person and not just a creature, and it's going to tell how he's related to Loke. But if Pycon is returning, I'm expecting a new rival too, and luckily Landau even mentioned it. Yet, surprise, Scoresby will also be back.
He's driven by greed. You know, he wants stuff for him. And that's endemic of a lot of kind of powerful white men in society right now. And
all Na'vi culture doesn't want to cut down a tree, saw it up into lumber, build things. They want to integrate in a very natural and graceful and symbiotic way into their environment. So we had to come up with their architecture.
You can capture the subtleties, the nuances of the movements. You can capture the eye, you can capture the ticks, everything. Capture it all. I'll be nice once, then I won't.
Which definitely means more trouble. Who knows, he may even be more dangerous than before, especially because Pycon cut off one of his arms in the insane action-packed ending of the second movie. And with the introduction of Eddie Falco's General Ardmore as the leader of the RDA, Part 2 made it clear that the war for Pandora is far from over. Plus, Landau speaks about how the Way of Water was Quaritch's revenge, but Ardmore or the RDA's goals haven't changed at all. There's just one thing missing though. What about Varong? Remember the leader of the Ash People? Well, Anna Chaplin is coming to play the role. If you haven't watched the Game of Thrones, you probably won't know her, but Chaplin has some insane acting skills she's bringing to Avatar 3. Apparently, her character has been described as an aggressive and volcanic race of people. Plus, the Na'vi are going to be different from the original film too, not just because of their elements, but mainly because they'll be introduced as antagonists this time. Landau says there are good humans and bad humans, but most of the time, people don't see themselves bad. I think that tells a lot about the upcoming Na'vi, who are probably doing things a little differently now. Like there's a good chance the Ash People are teaming up with humans. See, if the Ash People were cut off from their Tree of Souls and from the other Na'vi clans, they'd be more likely to use Pandora for its resources instead of appreciating it as other Na'vi do. Plus, the Ash People would have been exposed to molten rocks and metals during a volcanic eruption, which would have given them the chance to make weapons that were much more advanced than the bows and arrows used by the Na'vi. But because of this improvement in weapons, the Ash People might join forces with the RDA in future Avatar projects to fight against Jake and the so-called good Na'vi. But here's the thing, Part 2 also shows that the human forces on Pandora seem to like weapons that use fire. This could give the Ash People and the RDA the perfect chance to work together. I mean, both the RDA and the Ash People aren't even sure if Aiwa even exists. And honestly, for all we know, both of them could be trying to get as much as they can out of Pandora's resources as well, and this means they'd make a great team. Now, since the RDA is now using soldiers like Quaritch, who's a recombinant avatar, it'd be easy for them to fit in with the Ash People. But all the plots and stories aside, the real question is, when will the third part be released? Honestly, for now, I'm calling it Avatar: The Return of Pycon, and I think it'll be a big deal in 2024, considering fans of the first movie had to wait 13 years for the sequel. And hey, if nothing goes wrong, Avatar 3 will probably come out around December 2024. Cameron told Digital Spy in December the movie is almost ready to come out and that most of the work has already been done. They just have to go through the whole finishing process. Plus, Avatar 4 and 5 are also written, and Avatar 4 is also in pre-production. I mean, technically, this is an entire franchise now, and it'll be played out over multiple films. But with Weta FX working on Avatar 3, it's gonna be huge, and I'm so excited. Gosh, I wish they could release all the parts at once. But yeah, that's all for the major changes in Avatar 3. They sure have me hyped, and we'll see you in the next one.